The Washington Metro services the D.C. metropolitan area, with stops in the nation's capital, Virginia, and Maryland. The system spans 129 miles of track across 6 lines, with 98 stations. Washington's rapid transit system sees about 500,000 riders every weekday. The Metro, as it is known, is often rated as one of the best designed transit systems in the United States. For a country that has so hysterically failed at building reputable, efficient, good-looking transit systems, the WMATA is often seen as an outlier. Despite its higher-than-average prices, the system boasts clean, well-lit stations, large subway trains, and protocols that keep the system moving quickly and efficiently. One of its most attractive and iconic components are the station architecture types. It's well known for the vaulted ceilings, and 11 different types of architecture within it. Most of the system's stations were constructed in 1969, when the Washington Metro initially started construction as a whole. The most recent station opened in Potomac Yard on May 19, 2023. Overall, the system has 98 different stations, inside and outside of the Capital Beltway in Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia. Most metro stations were designed by Chicago architect Harry Weiss and are examples of 20th century modern architecture, with the heavy use of exposed concrete and repetitive design motifs. The stations also represent neoclassical architecture influenced by Washington, D.C. In 2007, the design of the vaulted ceilings was voted top 100 on America's favorite architecture list. With all that, let's dive into the first type of architecture used at these stations. Before we begin, note that the names are not the actual names of the station types. They're just commonly used by WMATA enthusiasts. The first would be the waffle-style vault station type. It's present at 32 different underground stations, mainly downtown. They're characterized by smaller rectangular coffers that line the walls, as if a waffle is wrapped around the station. The style was envisioned by the CFA and Harry Weiss. It first appeared when the system opened in 1976 and can be seen in stations such as Navy Yard, Waterfront, and DuPont Circle. The second type is Arch 1, which was used by Metro as a different design with precast sections to save money, as compared to the more expensive waffle designs. These stations only appear on the Red Line's western end, and first appeared in 1981, when the system was extended from DuPont Circle to Van Ness. These stations have 2 coffers at the top of the ceiling, on each half, while the rest of the wall is covered in concrete. Stations with the Arch 1 style include Van Ness and Grosvenor. The final underground station type is the twin-tube design, used at the super deep Wheaton and Forest Glen stations on the Red Line. Instead of having 2 side platforms with a broad vault, each track has its own smaller chamber connected by a corridor between the 2 platforms. As we move to the above-ground styles, there are 3 of them, with variants of each one. The first above-ground style is the Gull design. In the Gull 1 design, the roof looks like a seagull in flight, and the canopy is exposed concrete, similar to the underground stations. The curve of the arc is reminiscent of underground vaults. Rhode Island Avenue on the Red Line is one example of this. Gull 2 is more modern and sleek, with 1 panel going across the entire platform instead of 2 curved ones. The Gull shape appeared on day 1 of Metro, and is most common in above-ground stations opened in the late 1970s. Stations with this design include Van Dorn Street on the Blue Line and Fort Totten on the Green Line. The next above-ground style are the peak styles. These stations include flat concrete roofs which taper toward the track, along with a glass-peaked skylight running along the platform. These stations have 4 variations. High peak stations are identical to general peak stations, except for the raised roof that towers over the platform. The roof runs at the same height as the mezzanine, but when the platform drops to ground level, the roof stays at the original height. Examples of these styles are seen at the Greenbelt and Largo stations on the Green, Silver, and Blue lines. The next style comes as a result of a clash with surrounding architecture. The Old Town part of Alexandria, Virginia includes historic 18th and 19th century styles. Because the city was worried that the Gull style would clash with the historic Old Town feel, Metro bought out the Alexandria Peak style at Braddock Road and King Street on the Yellow and Blue lines. The Alexandria Peak stations have a simply triangular roof with a transparent pointed skylight throughout the entirety of the platform's length. The last peak style is the Tyson's Peak style, present on the Silver Line. These canopies are lighter and more modern than the general and high peak stations, and are arced down, tapering towards the tracks, present at the Spring Hill station on the Silver Line. The last design is the gambrel station design. Again unique to the Silver Line, the gambrel contains a high vaulted canopy with more metallic, lighter materials than the brutalist concrete, which can be seen at Tyson's Corner. The high vault is a tribute to the original vaulted underground metro stations, and the name comes from the gambrel roof, which is a two-slope type of roof common in barns. The Washington Metro is often labeled one of the best-looking systems in the country, and there's good reason to it. The stations are elaborately decorated with modern, brutalist styles that make them iconic to Washington, D.C. I know this video was different to what I usually post, however, I really wanted to cover this topic on the channel. I am always in awe of Washington's architecture whenever I ride on the WMATA. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what station type was your favorite and any future ideas you have that you want to see in videos. Thanks for watching.